Hi, everybody. I just wanted to check in with you this weekend and see how you're doing and remind you to let me know if you have any questions or concerns. This table pretty much differentiates quantitative and qualitative in a pretty precise way, whereas you can see quantitative really deals with numbers and is more deductive, and qualitative is more words and narrative and can be much more interpretive. Qualitative really looks at the perspectives of the participants that you're studying and what is the meaning they're making of things. It's more holistic and complex. It's really grounded in their lived experience. Quantitative is, again, inferential statistics, looking at correlations, and is usually run with some type of statistical package like an SPSS, where you're really looking at a lot of data, mostly measurable things like length and height, weight, temperatures. So it's really, when you take the word quantitative, you can see quantity, and when you're looking at descriptions with colors and textures and smells, that's more quality or qualitative. This is a pretty good pictorial description of the difference between qualitative and quantitative. When you look at these oil paintings of this wise old Al, on one side you see the qualitative descriptors, which is giving you the color, and people could even be describing them as vibrant and how it smells and the textures, whereas the quantitative is going to give you more of your measurements, how much it weighs, how much it costs, things that you can actually measure as opposed to more of a descriptive flavor to it. And speaking of flavors, here's another good description of this, which is about cappuccino, because when you can talk about qualitative data, again, it can be very different depending on who you're asking. Some could say it has a very robust aroma. Others could describe it as having a very frothy appearance, strong taste, and quantitatively would be more you're measuring, like I'll have a 12 ounce, what temperature it is, how it's served, and of course, the cost would also be something that you could quantify. Whereas quantitative researchers are really collecting data and getting these values that they can make inference of. Qualitative researchers are really interested in understanding how individuals interpret their own experiences, how they construct their world, what meaning they attribute to their experience. And there's one story that I would like to tell you that I think really exemplifies to me the importance of qualitative research and how you can have a bias. The story is really about a turtle, and it's about an anthropology field trip down to South America. And this woman was kind of lagging behind her group. The professor was way up ahead, and she sees this giant turtle that's meandering onto the road side. And she sees the riverbed down the hill where the turtle had climbed up from. And she thinks, oh my gosh, this turtle's going to get run over by a bus, a car. I really need to help this turtle get back down to the riverbank because he's going to get hurt. So she starts pulling and tugging and working with the turtle to get the turtle back down to the riverbed. And her professor is looking for her and comes and finds her and says, what are you doing? And she says, oh, I'm saving the turtle, because the turtle would have gotten killed if I'd left the turtle up on the roadside. And the teacher said, well, do you know why the turtle was up by the road? And she said, no, I just thought he got lost or something. And he said, well, the turtle's by the road because that's where they lay their eggs. Because if they lay their eggs down by the riverbank, the alligators or crocodiles would eat them, and then there would be no more turtles. And she says, oh, well, the moral of that story is we assume a lot of things that we know just by our observations and what we're thinking about a situation, when it really may have nothing at all to do with what the situation really and truly is. It's really important when you're doing a qualitative study or any, quantitative or qualitative, is to have good reliability and validity. And one of the things that can interfere with this is bias that we were just talking about. The bias really does involve the subjectivity of the researcher. It is concerned with the researcher's expectations influencing conclusions. Like if you go in there expecting to find certain results, that is what you may see, even if it truly isn't what there, just because of your own biases. So it really is concerned with the reactivity of the researcher and not taking the true meaning that the individual that's being studied has made of their situation. So that's one of the things with observation that you have to be very, very careful of. But it is a good technique if you can have a good sampling. Also, another thing would be better to have a long-term participant observation so you can, watch them over a period of time, or do repeated observations to rule out those kind of spurious associations and premature theories that the researcher could have. So that's the story about the turtle and a little take on the differences between quantitative and qualitative research, with the main take-home point being to always, if we really want to know, get to the truth of the situation, you have to go right to the source, which means that you have to ask the turtle. And always remember that.